LoreWarrior Online. The Naga. Overview. In a warrior culture that champions personal glory and ritual combat, the Naga, so named because its sweeping torso resembles the hood of a mythological cobra, is an abomination. Nevertheless, when a group of Clan Wolf technicians modified a woodsman to mount a pair of Arrow 4 launchers, Clan Warriors soon saw its potential. Capabilities. The Naga was designed to deliver a sustained tactical artillery barrage while maintaining maneuverability. The standard configuration, carrying 6 tons of missiles, best fulfills this mission, but carries only 3 small lasers to ward off any enemy that manages to close with it. Every alternate configuration gives the Naga more short-range protection. Alternate configuration A sacrifices a ton of missiles to gain 2 extended-range medium lasers and an ER small. Alternate configuration B, most favoured among Naga pilots, carries 4 tons of missiles but packs 1 ER small and 3 ER mediums. Alternative configuration C mounts an SRM-6 missile rack and 2 ER small lasers to ward off enemies, and alternate configuration D uses an SRM-4 rack and adds an ER medium laser to its ER small laser. Deployment. The Naga first saw limited deployment in the mid-2900s. It spread slowly from Clan Wolf to other clans, but even clans with relatively liberal combat doctrines didn't widely accept the Mech until the battle for Tukiad, where the Naga would prove its worth. During the drive on Burzo and Skupo, Naga-equipped Wolf artillery stars decimated Comstar's 10th Army formations. After Skupo fell, Wolf Nagas continued to bite deep into the retreating Comguard, who lost more than 200 POWs to the Wolves in that action alone. Soon afterward, the Hell's Horses began fielding Naga-equipped artillery units, followed by the Snow Ravens, the Star Adders, the Cloud Cobras, and even the Jade Falcons, the latter in extremely limited numbers, however. Notable Mech Warriors. Star Captain Istel. Istel joined Clan Wolf's Tauman as a freeborn warrior. After her trial of position merited her an Omnimech in a frontline unit, she received the honour of piloting a Naga in the artillery binary of the elite 328th Assault Cluster. She saw limited action until Tukiad, and afterward found herself again unneeded. Captured in a Hell's Horses raid, she now serves as her new clan's chief artillery instructor. Star Captain Kola Gastapiv. Barely a whelp from the Sibcos when Star Adder first struck York in 3063, Mech Warrior Kola piloted a Stormcrow until shot out of his mech. Taking over a captured Blood Spirit Naga, he returned to the field with vengeance. During his 4 years on York, he rose to the rank of Star Captain and has been credited with more than 80 kills, half of the mechs crippled by fast-cam minefields that he's laid down. He shares the rest with Mech Warrior Sean, who is Spotter for his support trinary. Ah yes, the walking question mark in the Naga. 80 tons, chassis is a Type BMH-7 Endo Steel, Powerplant Fusion 400XL, cruise of 54, max speed of 86, no jump jets. Armour is Forged Type 34 Standard, armed with 2 Arrow 4 systems and 7.5 tons of pod space available. Manufactured by the manufacturing plant WA3 in Arcadia. Man, they got catchy names. Communication system is a Type G3 Mark 12 with targeting and tracking provided by the R-Track 2 TTS, or Tabletop Simulator. Yes, the Naga. It's a cool looking mech. I always liked it. I remember playing it in, I think it was Mech Warrior 2 Mercenaries where it first turned up, and it was just stupidly powerful. It was a lot of fun just to launch artillery missiles at targets and watching them explode. And I'm sure it's the kind of thing that many people would love to see in a game like Mech Warrior Online. But of course, it would be almost impossible to balance such a weapon system. And it would, what would stop people from equipping it on other mechs? Oh, I've got a missile slot. You know, guarantee you there'll be the light mech running around with an Arrow 4, even if it's only enough, like, just to squeeze in a single ton of ammunition. Some fucker would do it. So, yeah. Because Arrow's deadly. Arrow's very, very nasty. Yeah, I mean, most of the write-up... This is one of the problems with Clan Mech write-ups, is that they're very much like the clans. They're extremely dry. There's no character. There's no personality. Like, why was it built, for instance? Why did the clan engineers come up with it? What was the need? Like, for instance, were Clan Wolf at some point suddenly pressed that they needed, we need an artillery machine, but we need to build it on the cheap because, you know, XYZ reasons. let's modify a woodsman. It's a cheap chassis. We've got loads of them lying around. Let's stick these weapons on it. But literally the write-up is, it's there. It's built on a woodman. There you go. And the rest of it is literally just, oh, these are what the different configurations are, and the most interesting part is that it was on 2-keyed. That's it, unfortunately. The clan write-ups, I think, just lack so much interesting stuff. Unlike the previous ones with the Grand Titan, where there's a little bit of like company chicanery going on. That they lied to the manufacturer about what it was going to have, and they had to alter it a bit, and then it wasn't the mech that was originally pitched, that kind of thing. Loads of them have little characters, and the clan ones is just, it's bread and butter, and that's it. There's no flavour, which is a shame, because a lot of the clan mechs are pretty cool looking. They do have some nice features. I mean, even in this book, I quite like the look of the Phantom. It's like an upgraded ice ferret with a little domed head in it. It's kind of cute. The Pouncer is it's like the little combat turtle. The Linebacker, I've always liked the Linebacker. It's a weird looking mech. It doesn't make any sense for what it was built to do, but it's still fun. And the Naga looks great, but all the write-ups for them are just kind of naff. Stat-wise, it moves 5 and 8 on the field, which is fine. It can sink 24 heat, but then it's not going to be generating that much heat per shot anyway. 17 armor on the CT, 10 on the rear, 15 on each side torso with 9 on the rear, and 14 on the arms and 16 on the leg. So for an 80-tonner, it's not really heavily armed, but that makes sense because the weapon systems it's carrying are quite heavy, to be fair. So I can finally... let's see, Arrow 415... oh, no, actually, no, I'm misremembering. It's 3 ton per launcher. Yeah, it's got to be the engine, yeah. The 400XL, 26.5 ton alone, yeah. That's more than a quarter of its entire weight is just for the engine. But, yeah, I mean, it's got plenty of ammo. It can fire 15 missiles per launcher, which is pretty nasty. So, that's 15 rounds of fire for the kind of damage you can do. The other alternate configurations, one of them can fire 10 rounds, while the other one can fire 15 rounds, obviously because of the ammunition setup. Another one is 10 and 10. Configuration C is 10 and 10, and D is also 10 and 10. So there's a bit of a compromise in the amount of big punch shots you've got, but still 10 rounds of arrow, of twin arrow being fired at you is pretty scary, and the base one is like 15 rounds of double arrow missiles. Yeah, it's a scary proposition. Arrow is, I think, on Living Legends, if I remember correctly. I'll have to double check it, but they do have, I mean, they have like Long Tom barrage system and that, but that's because their maps are big enough for it. And Living Legends has a system that's more factored around actual information warfare, so you need somebody out there who's like tagging or narking, that kind of thing, to make sure that those weapon systems actually have a decent chance of being able to home in on a target. Whereas, as I said, if this was a system, if this was a mech that was brought into a game like MechWarrior Online, where the maps are comparatively quite small, even the largest maps, like if we pick Polar Highlands, for instance, so like one of their really big maps, the Naga is still going to be outranged in the sense that even though it can fire on multiple targets, the return fire can still hit it most of the time because of some of the builds out there these days. But the other problem is that a team that has somebody just passively spotting targets, because everybody apparently has like a C3 slave system linked into their in their mechs in MechWarrior Online, it would just be able to like drop missiles from all over and just ruin people's games very quickly. It's a shame that more weapon systems can't be in MechWarrior Online like that, but yeah, that's just the sad reality of a combination of the game engine and mechanics. And as I said before, it wouldn't be long before if something like this was added that you would see crazy builds of people like cramming them into mechs that it should never have been in. Can you imagine like if someone could somehow fit one onto a fucking... Well, actually they could, because given the weight of it, if it's only 3 ton... what the hell is it now? ER small, is it? Now, the launcher must weigh more than that, mustn't it? It's got 3 tons of ammo, ER small, half a ton. I don't know how it's working out, but either way, I bet you could stick this on like a clan light that's got a single missile launcher. It would look ridiculous. It'd be this gigantic missile, one tube hanging off the arm of an Omni-Mech or something. But it would do it because MWR allows you to do stupid shit like that. So yeah, it would completely destroy balance for a while, and they'd have to either nerf Arrow into the ground or have to remove it, or however they do it. I don't know. It wouldn't work. Or they'd make the missiles like stupidly slow so people could like see it darken the sky as it flies overhead and they just all run for cover. Or an AMS system just goes and just shoots out the sky, which is probably most likely what would end up happening if as a nerf for it. They'd probably like set something up where the missile's got like virtually no hit points, so it just gets instantly taken out by AMS. Then you have the opposite side of like, why'd you bring something in if we destroyed so easily? So yeah, that's why it'll never be in the game. But I've rambled on enough, nearly 11 minutes on the Naga for a relatively short amount of information. But should be some of the mechs coming along. We'll have a look, see some of the vehicles as well. We're going to go back to Aerotech and jump ships and drop ships and tanks and all that. But Merc units as well. So have a good one all. I'll catch you next time. And yeah, thanks for listening. Bye bye.